Hi guys, Kaiser here, and welcome to a follow-up video on Tuesday's introduction to Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, The Return of Rome. Now on Tuesday, we got a bunch of new information about this brand new expansion pack, and in that video I went over all of the juicy details. You can review that video to check out what this expansion pack is bringing to the game. Basically, it's bringing Age of Empires 1 into the Age of Empires 2 engine as a completely separate game mode, as well as introducing a brand new civilization to the regular AoE 2 experience with the Romans. And we already talked about all of that in the last video, but since that video was recorded, the Forgotten Empire devs have added in a single sentence that is very important, and I think every purchaser of the expansion pack should know before getting the game. Take a look. The Romans. For use in standard Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, they talk about the Legionary, they talk about the Centurion, and here's this final sentence: available in single-player and unranked multiplayer games. And what that means by process of elimination is that the Romans will not be available on the ranked ladder for ranked games. Now that does raise the question, what does this sentence mean? And I've heard some people argue, well, it means the Romans will be temporarily unavailable. They'll be withheld while the balance is figured out. And once the Romans are in a good place, they can be added in at a later time. And I hope that this theory is correct. I think that would be a good way of doing it. We have never had a civilization in Age of Empires 2 that was only available for certain modes and not others. And so I think the Romans would stick out in a very unusual way if they are permanently limited to just the single player and the unranked multiplayer experience. Having said that, I've got to say I'm not reading this sentence that way for two reasons. First of all, historically, no civilization has ever been held back for balance change reasons. If you look at the history of Age of Empires 2 DE, we have had civilizations that released at a very strong level, perhaps even a brokenly strong level, and they nevertheless went onto the ranked ladder and had dominance for some time before they were patched to a reasonable level. I remember the Burgundians, when they first released, were very strong. The Cumans, when Definitive Edition first came out, were very strong. On the flip side of the coin, the Bengalis were very weak when they first released. This is very common, and they were allowed onto the ranked ladder. So it would be a change of strategy that they're introducing here if what they are saying is that the Romans are going to be held back for a certain amount of time for balance reasons until they're introduced to the ranked ladder. That would be a new thing. I also don't think it's likely because just knowing how games are typically advertised, this is not how you would frame this situation if you were only going to keep the Romans on off the ranked ladder for a couple of weeks. I think it would be much more likely to have an asterisk or something here, and then in the fine print at the bottom, it would say something like unavailable for the first few weeks or unavailable for a certain amount of time. Will be unlocked for the ranked ladder at a later time, within the next few months or whatever, right? I don't think you would put so bluntly, so clearly, right here in the description of the civilization that it is only available in these modes. It will not, functionally, they're saying, it will not be available in the ranked multiplayer experience. And I think this is a very important sentence because it clarified for me, and I think it should clarify for purchasers of the Rise of Rome expansion, what the objectives and the target audience of this expansion pack is. The way I see it is the Rise of Rome expansion are primarily for two crowds. Either you are a fan of the original the original Age of Empires 1 experience. You loved that original game, and you want to experience it in a with modern technology and with the modern quality of life features that are built into the AoE 2 DE engine. Because the Age of Empires 2 DE engine is much better than the Age of Empires 1 engine. This is Age of Empires Definitive Edition enhanced, essentially. Right, so from that perspective, it's very good if you're a fan of AoE 1. I know they talk about how in Vietnam this is a very popular game, and so I'm sure they hope it catches on there. That's why the Lac Viet have been added. So there's that experience, and then the other group that they are targeting is the single-player crowd. If you are someone who loves playing Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition for the single-player experience, you love the campaigns, you love battling against the AI, that's what Age of Empires is for you, or that's one of your favorite ways of playing the game, then I think this expansion pack adds a lot. Having said that, I know that there are a crowd of players who play Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition primarily for the multiplayer experience. You love going onto the ranked ladder, you love testing your experience against other players, and for some of you, the single-player experience and the campaigns really take a back seat to the multiplayer experience. And if that is you, for example, with Iron Kaiser Gaming, all of my videos so far have been multiplayer ranked focused. I don't really do a lot of campaign gameplay or very little in the way of single-player gameplay. So, in the case of my Iron Kaiser Gaming YouTube video, this expansion pack does not seem to offer a lot. The one thing that was added into Age of Empires 2 proper is the Roman civilization, and now we're finding that they will not be available in the ranked ladder. Now, you will still have a ranked multiplayer experience for Age of Empires 1 in this AoE 1 mode. You will have that. However, at least from my view, speaking just as one person, if I'm going to play Age of Empires online, I think I would rather just play Age of Empires 2 online. The AoE 1 civs don't have the unique units, they don't have the unique techs. I think it's a fuller, more complete experience going with the sequel compared to the first Age of Empires game. So beyond sort of the novelty of experiencing Age of Empires 1 and looking at the different civilizations from that perspective, I believe that this expansion pack is primarily for single-player gamers. And so I wanted to highlight that because I think it's very important for you to know if you're going to play The Return of Rome, if you want to buy this expansion. I wanted to make sure that you had all of the information before you made that purchase. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel for more Age of Empires news and gameplay. Thanks so much, guys. For now, this is the Iron Kaiser, signing off.